Hello! So you just started Heavensward. You enter Ishgard, and you see people letting out their inner darkness in the streets. And you think to yourself, I want to do that. So you became a Dark Knight. Dark Knight is an edgy tank that uses a big sword. This job is, interesting right now. More on that at the end. But it also has a lot of DPS abilities, with some of them even using MP. They also have some unique mitigation tools available to them. Dark Knight starts at level 30, so you have a bit of your kit already unlocked. But before we begin, a quick disclaimer. My Idiot's Guides explain the different weapon skills, spells, and abilities of different jobs. I might touch upon the rotation and opener, however if I do, I will not be discussing it in detail. These guides are meant for you to learn what each individual button does and how it's used or how it flows with others. If you want to see a more in-depth look at the rotation or opener, let me know in the comments. And if the demand is there, I'll possibly make a follow-up video that goes through it in depth. Thank you for your understanding. Let's start with your main combo, which is Hard Slash into Siphon Strike, then into Soul Eater. Siphon Strike will give you 600 MP, and Soul Eater will restore a bit of HP. Your AoE combo will consist of Unleash, then into Stalwart Soul, which also gives you 600 MP. You also have a ranged attack, which is Unmend. This will reduce the cooldown of your Gap Closer Shadow Stride by 5 seconds at level 84. Besides your main combo, you can also spend 3000 MP on Flood of Darkness, which is a line AoE attack that gives you Dark Side for 30 seconds. Dark Side will increase your damage dealt by 10% and can be extended to 1 minute. At level 40, you can spend 3000 MP on Edge of Darkness, which is a single target attack that also gives Dark Side for 30 seconds. No matter what, you should try to keep Dark Side up as much as possible, as this damage buff is really important. At level 35, you'll be able to use Blood Weapon, which will make your next 3 weapon skills give 600 MP. This is really useful for gaining MP back in order to keep using either Flood or Edge of Darkness. At level 62, you'll unlock your Blood Gauge and Blood Spiller. By using Soul Eater, the third part of your main combo, you'll gain 20 blood. When you get 50 blood, you can spend it on Blood Spiller, a strong single target attack, or Quietus, an AoE attack at level 64. At level 66, any weapon skill you use with Blood Weapon will give 10 blood as well. You can actually use this with Soul Eater in order to gain 30 blood. At level 68, Blood Weapon will upgrade to Delirium, which when used will give you the 3 Blood Weapon stacks, but also 3 Delirium stacks. These Delirium stacks will allow you to use Blood Spiller or Quietus without needing any blood gauge. This will also make each Blood Spiller restore 800 MP and each Quietus restore 1100 MP if you still have Blood Weapon active. Otherwise, they restore 200 MP and 500 MP respectively. At level 96, when you use Delirium, it'll change Blood Spiller and Quietus to Scarlet Delirium and Impalement respectively. Scarlet Delirium is actually the first part of another combo, which is Scarlet Delirium into Comeuppance, then into Torcleaver. Impalement is not a combo, so you can just spam it. Dark Knights have a lot of DPS abilities they can use. Salted Earth will place a bubble around you that'll continuously damage any enemies that are in it. At level 86, Salted Earth will change to Salt and Darkness when you use it, which will make the bubble pulse and do some extra damage. Abyssal Drain is an AoE attack that'll restore HP and 600 MP. This can be used to help heal yourself by a large amount if you're in a big pack of mobs in a dungeon, since the heal will proc from every enemy you hit with Abyssal Drain. This ability also shares a cooldown timer with your level 60 ability, Carven Spit, which is a single target attack that also gives you 600 MP. At level 90, when you have Dark Side active, you can use Shadowbringer, which is a strong line AoE attack that you have 2 charges of. At level 80, you can use Living Shadow and summon Esteem for 20 seconds. Esteem will attack your target alongside you. At level 100, when you use Living Shadow, you can use Disesteem, which is a really strong line AoE attack. Before we go on, if you're enjoying this video so far, I highly suggest you subscribe and leave a like, as it helps a lot. If you want to support me even further here on YouTube, you can hit the join button and become a member. It's only $1 a month and anything helps. If you want to support me even more, you can join the higher tier, where I'm letting them vote on which guide I do next. I also stream on Twitch and YouTube almost every week, so if you want to watch me live, be sure to check out the Twitch link in the description below or look out for my streams on YouTube. Thanks so much for your support. Anyways, besides DPSing, everything. As a tank, you are responsible for holding aggro on enemies using your tank stance, Grit. This should be on anytime you're tanking, especially if you're in a dungeon. Mitigation is also key to tanks, as without it, you'll die. Dark Knight, especially right now in patch 7.05, can be a bit squishy compared to the other tanks, so really make sure you're mitigating. Rampart will reduce damage taken by 20% for 20 seconds. At level 94, Rampart will also increase HP recovery from healing actions by 15% as well. Reprisal will reduce damage dealt by 10% for 10 seconds to all nearby enemies. At level 98, this will be extended to 15 seconds. Arm's Length will make you unable to be affected by most knockback or draw-in effects for 6 seconds. However, this can also be used in order to apply a 20% slow for 15 seconds to any enemy that hits you, excluding most bosses. Shadow Wall will reduce damage taken by 30% for 15 seconds. At level 92, this will upgrade to Shadowed Vigil, which will reduce damage taken by 40% for 15 seconds and gives you Vigilant for 20 seconds. With Vigilant active, when your HP drops below 50%, or if the timer runs out, it'll heal you a bit. Dark Mind will reduce magic damage taken by 20% for 10 seconds. The Blackest Night, or TBN for short, costs 3000 MP and will give you a big shield for 7 seconds. If the shield breaks, you'll get Dark Arts, which allows you to use Flood or Edge of Shadow without using any MP. You can also give TBN to another party member as well. Dark Missionary will reduce magic damage taken for yourself and nearby party members by 10% for 15 seconds. Oblation will reduce damage taken by 10% for 10 seconds. You have 2 charges of Oblation and can give it to any party member as well. At level 50, you can use Living Dead, which when used will give you a buff that lasts for 10 seconds. During these 10 seconds, if your HP falls to 0, it'll convert into Walking Dead and keep you alive for 10 seconds. During Walking Dead's 10 seconds, you must restore HP totaling out to your maximum HP, or else you'll die when the duration runs out. To help with this, when Walking Dead is active, each of your weapon skills will heal you for a pretty big amount. AoE weapon skills especially will heal you a lot if there's a ton of enemies that get hit. When you restore enough HP, Walking Dead will change to Undead Rebirth but won't reset the timer. During Undead Rebirth, your weapon skills will no longer heal you, but you cannot fall below 1 HP, so make sure you're healed enough to not die when Undead Rebirth runs out. With Dark Mind and Dark Missionary, it's important to keep in mind that these reduce magic damage taken. If you watch the flying text on your screen when you get hit, you'll notice either a blue sword or purple staff appear next to the name of the ability or auto attack that hit you. The blue sword represents physical damage, while the purple staff represents magic damage. So keep an eye out for big attacks that have the purple staff next to the floating text. All of your mitigation tools should be used on trash pulls in dungeons, tank busters, and even raid-wide attacks that hurt the whole party. When tanking a pack of trash mobs in a dungeon, it's important to spread out your mitigation, usually by using 1 or 2 at a time, in order to keep a constant source of mitigation active. With Dark Knight especially, TBN should be used a lot when tanking trash mobs, since the shield can be easily broken, allowing you to use Flood of Darkness in the trash pull while still keeping yourself alive. Don't be afraid to use Living Dead in trash pulls if you're starting to fall really low on HP and have no mitigation left. Tank busters can usually be handled with 1 or 2 mitigations. In harder content though, you might need to use more. Dark Missionary and Reprisal can be especially useful for mitigating your party from raid-wide attacks when in trials or raids. One thing I don't see that often is tanks using their targetable mitigation, aka TBN or Oblation, on other party members whenever they need it, especially if a raid-wide attack is coming up and they're low on HP. I highly suggest trying to do this unless you need those mits for an upcoming tank buster. Overall though, and I will be honest, I do not like Dark Knight in the current state it's in. There's just a ton of problems that should be addressed, especially both the squishiness of the job and the MP generation being really bad. I don't like how Delirium Blood Weapon combined, since it was really good using Blood Weapon to get a lot of MP with Siphon Strike, and you don't even gain as much MP as you used to. However, if you like how the job is or plays, then stick with it. I'm hoping this job does get some changes to help it out in the future, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that basically sums up Dark Knight, so bye!